So you've heard about OpenClaw and think, this sounds awesome. I'll just follow a beginner tutorial and set it up. But then you start watching and you're seeing terms like APIs, databases, memory layers, heartbeats. And then you're just sitting there with a million new questions and wondering, am I even able to do this? And am I gonna break something if I try? Well, don't worry. I was once in the exact same spot. But since then, I figured out the absolute easiest and best way to set up OpenClaw from start to finish as a true complete beginner. No headache, no worries. Because here's the truth. You don't need to know any coding or be a developer. You also do not need to understand all those terms. And you can set this up as a complete beginner with no prior knowledge. Because in this video, I'm gonna walk you through this step by step. I'm gonna show you what to click, what to avoid, and I'm gonna explain everything in the simplest terms possible. So that by the end, you'll have your own AI assistant running 24/7 with OpenClaw. So first, what is OpenClaw? Well, OpenClaw is an autonomous AI agent, and it works for you round the clock, like a digital assistant that never has to eat, sleep, or take breaks. It can do things like check your emails in the morning and send you a daily summary, or even reply to them. It can manage your Google Calendar and create meetings for you. It can even check you in for flights, book dentist appointments, or even send your mother flowers. The options are endless. But instead of telling you, let me show you some examples in real time. Okay, so I'm gonna tell OpenClaw that I have a meeting with Jeff Bezos on April 12th, and it's gonna put it on my calendar. Watch this. Okay, so I said I have a Zoom meeting with Jeff Bezos on April 12th at 9 a.m. MST for 1 hour. The meeting subject is world domination. Can you add it to my calendar and remind me 30 minutes before? And just like that, it's done. And you can see the meeting right here, world domination, and it even gave me a calendar link. Or we could ask it to check our email every day at 7 a.m. and send us a daily summary. So I said, check my email every day at 7 a.m. and send me a daily summary. Mark urgent items with a siren emoji. Can you show me an example notification and what that would look like? And just like that, it set it up. And here's an example of what that would look like. And I would receive a notification like this automatically every day at 7 a.m. And these simple tasks are barely scratching the surface of what OpenClaw can really do. Okay, so how does OpenClaw work? Well, OpenClaw is just 4 pieces. The first is the body. This is just the server. It's where your assistant lives and runs 24/7. This could be a dedicated computer in your house or a simple cloud server. One is definitely better than the other, but I'll get to that in a second. The second part is the brain. This is just the AI, like ChatGPT or Claude. It's what thinks and makes decisions. And the third part is the tools. This is things like Gmail, Calendar, or Telegram. These are just the tools that OpenClaw uses to actually do things for you. And the last part is the instructions. This is what you actually tell it to do. And this is what we're going to be using Telegram for. It's the easiest chat to integrate with OpenClaw and allows you to communicate with it just like a real assistant or any other AI. So you're just connecting the body, brain, tools, and instructions. So first, let's start with the body. Much like our own brains live inside our bodies, OpenClaw needs a place to live too. And you have 3 options for this. Option 1 is your laptop. It's free, but it turns off whenever your laptop closes. So it's not running 24/7, so I don't recommend this. Option 2 is a separate computer. Better, but a lot more expensive and a lot more to set up. A popular choice for this is a Mac Mini, but these run around $600 just for the basic models. So again, that's not my recommendation, especially for beginners. My recommendation is option 3, a VPS. And this is just a virtual private server, or AKA a cloud server. But you don't need to know what those terms mean. A VPS just means that you're renting your own private computer on the internet. It lives in a secure building with a bunch of other computers that are also connected to the internet and running 24/7. But you get your own space, so nothing else affects you. And the company that you rent it from handles all the technical stuff, like the setup, the security, and fixing any potential issues that might arise, so that you don't have to. I've tried all the methods, and this is by far the easiest, fastest, and simplest way to get set up with OpenClaw. For the average user, a server is somewhere around $7 to $10 a month, and the AI usage would be somewhere around $5 to $10 a month. So realistically, you're looking at around $10 to $20 a month total. In my opinion, this is a lot better than a dedicated computer that's going to be at least $600. And then again, you've got the AI usage being $5 to $10 a month, and then a lot more technical skills involved and a lot more headache. This is why my top recommendation is to use a VPS. And my #1 favorite VPS to use for OpenClaw is with Hostinger. They have an easy one-click setup, it's super fast and very beginner friendly. So just go ahead and click on the very first link in the description, and that will take you to this page. And this is going to get you the extra 10% discount on your OpenClaw plan, and it's also going to be the biggest discount that you're going to find anywhere on the internet. And they've also got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So just go ahead and click on the Get Started button. And here's where you can choose a plan. Now there's 2 different plans that you can choose, and we're going to be going with the Managed OpenClaw plan, because this is the ready out-of-the-box plan. It's super beginner friendly because the install of OpenClaw is just built right into the setup, and it's also got built-in security and maintenance so that you don't have to worry about any of that. And it's also the cheaper plan. So we're going to click on Choose Plan. And here's where you can choose a billing cycle. So the longer months that you go with is going to get you the biggest discount. But if you're not ready to commit to that right away, then my recommendation is the 12 months. Because if you go with the 1-month plan, it's going to be too expensive month to month, and it takes a little while for your AI assistant to get fully set up the way that you want. So that's why I recommend a 12-month plan. And it still comes out to only $7 a month. And we're also going to leave this ready to use AI box checked, because this is going to give us credits that we can use with ChatGPT, Claude, and other AIs. That way, you don't have to go to each individual one to set up credits. It's so much easier to do it like this, so I highly recommend this. And I also recommend checking this box for instant web search, and it's also free. And without getting too technical, what this does is it just expands your reach on the internet with OpenClaw. Your AI assistant can read nearly any website on the internet, no matter how that web page is built. And again, it's free, so why limit yourself? So we're going to leave that checked, and then just go up here and make sure that you've got this Create a Pro website coupon code enabled. And that will get you the extra 10% discount on your plan. And then just go ahead and click Continue. And then from here, you just register an account with Hostinger, but I've already got one, so I'm just going to click on Login. So then just go ahead and fill in your billing details and click on Continue. And then just fill in your card information. I've already got mine saved, so then I can just click on Submit Payment. Congratulations. So from here, now you can just click on Get Started. Cool. So from here, you'll be brought to your Hostinger dashboard or directly to the OpenClaw setup. And if not, you can just click on OpenClaw right over here in the menu. And from here, you'll see OpenClaw, and it says Pending Setup. So we're just going to click on Setup. So our next step is to choose the AI that we want OpenClaw to use. And again, this is like our brain. But because we did Nexus, we can use any of these. OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, Anthropic, which is Claude, or any others. And we've already got our API key already in here. So you don't have to do anything here. You just click Next. And just like that, OpenClaw is setting up for you automatically in one click. This is by far the easiest way to set up OpenClaw. Awesome. So now we can move on to connecting OpenClaw to a messaging app. And in this case, we're going to be using Telegram. So in just the same way that you would be talking to ChatGPT or Claude through a chat box, we're going to be setting up the exact same thing with OpenClaw. And OpenClaw does have a native chat box, but you can't take it on the go with you. So that's why we're going to be setting up Telegram. So from here, we're just going to click on Select for Telegram. And then it's just going to give us some instructions for how to set this up. Now, if you don't already have a Telegram account, just go to your phone's app store, download Telegram, and create a new account. So here's how to do this. I've already got Telegram set up on my Mac. So what we're going to do is just search for the Botfather. And you can see Botfather right here. So then we're just going to click on Open. And if you don't see this box pop up, you'll likely get a chat with a bunch of different options. And in that case, you would just type in /new bot. But we've got this little box that popped up allowing us to create a new bot. So I'm just going to click on that. And then we'll just give our bot a name. I'm going to call mine OC for OpenClaw. And then you just have to give your bot a unique username, and it has to end in bot. So I'm going to type one in. So I did Dale's OC bot, and it is available. If not, you just have to choose a new one. And then just click Create Bot. Now this step is really important. You want to copy this token and save it somewhere on your computer, like a text document on your desktop or in a password manager. So once you've saved that and you've got it copied, just come over here and just enter it in. And then we'll just click next. So now it's just going to give us a couple more instructions. It says that we need to open Telegram and type /start to our bot. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'll just type my bot's name right up here. So you can see Dale's OC bot right here. I'm just going to click on it and then just click start. And then it's going to pop up with this window that's going to give us a code so that we can pair. So you just want to copy this code. And then if you go back over to Hostinger, it should automatically populate here. You don't even need to paste it, which is super cool. So once you confirm that's the right code, you just click on approve. And then it just said connected, and now we're all set. It is all super easy with Hostinger. That's what I love. So now the next most important thing is to click on this access key and copy it and save that also in a text document or in a password manager. And then once you've done that, you can just click on OpenClaw. Awesome. So now here we are inside of OpenClaw. And it's pretty similar to ChatGPT or Claude, where you can just talk to it with a chat box. So let's just start by saying hello. It will then reply and say, hey, I just came online. Who am I and who are you? And it will ask you a bunch of other stuff about what identity that you want to give it. Feel free to answer all these questions naturally. But for this case, I'm just going to say who I am and what I want to call it and what time zone I'm in. So I just said, hey, I'm Dale. I'd like to call you OC for OpenClaw. I'm in the MST time zone. Cool. So after you've introduced yourself, let's go test Telegram to make sure that it's working. So I'm just going to pull up Telegram here. And you can say hi, hello, anything you want to test it. But a fun one is to say ping. And then it comes back and says pong, which confirms that Telegram is working and we can chat with OpenClaw right through here. Cool. So now our next step is to install skills. Skills are what turn OpenClaw from any other AI chat to an AI assistant that can go out and do things for you. So this could be things like hooking up your Google Workspace to OpenClaw so that it can update Google Sheets, update your calendar for you and create meetings, send messages to your contacts, and so on. And you can do other skills like letting it book you a haircut or updating your website for you or track shopping deals online and notifying you when deals go on. The options are endless. So let's go download a skill. So I've put a link in the description that will take you to this page. And this is called ClawHub. And this is where you install skills for OpenClaw. So let's start by setting up the Google Workspace skill. That way we can ask OpenClaw to update our calendar with a new meeting, for instance. So let's just click on Browse Skills. And here is where you can type in anything to find skills. Now, the thing to note with OpenClaw is that it does look for malicious intent whenever somebody is uploading a skill, and it will scan for viruses. But some can always slip through the cracks. So just because something has a large amount of downloads doesn't always mean that it's safe. So my recommendation is to check the safety of the skill with OpenClaw first before you download it. So let's do that with the Google Workspace one. And that skill is called GOG. And you can see it right here, Google Workspace for Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Contacts, and so on. So we'll just go ahead and click on this. And you can see that the virus total says benign, which is good. It's free from viruses. And OpenClaw, it says suspicious, but that's not a bad thing. Again, it just means we need to check it with OpenClaw first. So let's just pull up Telegram and talk to OpenClaw. So I'm just going to type right down here. I said, I want to install the GOG skill, but I want to make sure that it's safe first. Can you run a check on it for me? And it says it's going to inspect the skill, and you can see that it's still typing, which means it's just running through some tasks to check it. So just give this a minute. And it came back and said that the skill looks fine. So I'm going to ask it to install it. So it just installed the skill. And what it did not do is grant Google access, because we have to give it access. So let's just respond. So I just said, thanks, direct me on how to grant Google access so you can access my Google Workspace. I'm running OpenClaw through Hostinger. So it came back with some instructions. First, we need to install the GOG CLI on our Hostinger machine. It said that it can do this for us if we want. And it's recommending homebrew formula, which we don't have with Hostinger. So I'm just going to say, I don't have homebrew with Hostinger. Can you install it another way? And it said, perfect. We'll install it a different way that's actually cleaner. And it wants to know some details about our server that I definitely do not know. So I'm just going to say, I don't know. Can you check it for me? So it checked our server for us, and it knows exactly what we need to install. So it said, if you want, I'll do that next. So I'll say, yes, please. Perfect. So he just installed it. And now we just have one more step, which is to set up our Google OAuth. This basically allows OpenClaw to talk to Google Workspace and update documents and do what it needs to do. So let me show you how to do this. So we're just going to go up to a new tab, and we're just going to type in console.cloud.google.com. And that should take you to a page that looks like this, and just confirm that you're signed in with the correct Google account. So first, we need to create a new project. So I was already working on some N8N, so I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to say New Project. And I'm just going to name the project OpenClaw, and then we'll just say Create. Cool, so our project was just created, so we're just going to say Select Project. And now you can see that that's confirmed right up here. So now we're just going to click on the hamburger menu right here, and we're going to come down to APIs and Services, and then Enabled APIs and Services. And here's where we're going to enable all the tools that OpenClaw is going to be able to use. So we're just going to click on Enable APIs and Services, and we can search for them here. So the most important one to start with is Google Drive, because without hooking up Google Drive, OpenClaw won't be able to access Sheets, Docs, and so on. So we'll just type that in, Google Drive, and we've got Google Drive API right here. So we'll just click it, and then click Enable, and then we'll just click on the back button, and then Enable APIs and Services again, and we'll search for our next one. So let's do Docs. Google Docs API, and then again click on Enable. And then we'll just click on the back button again, and then Enable APIs and Services again. And I'm going to do the same thing again for Google Sheets, Calendar, and so on. Okay, so I went ahead and added Sheets, Calendar, and Gmail as well. So now we can go back over to the hamburger menu, and then just come down to APIs and Services, and we'll just go to OAuth Consent Screen. And then we'll just click on Get Started. And for app name, we'll say OpenClaw. And for user support email, just select your email. It should already be hooked up. And then just click on Next. And then for the audience, we're going to say External, and then Next. And then again, put in your same email here. And then click Next. And then just agree and click Continue. And then just click Create. Awesome. So I know this seems confusing and like we're acting like a developer, but this really is the minimum viable thing that you have to do to get OpenClaw to talk to Google Workspace. And don't worry, you're not breaking anything, I promise. Okay, so let's keep going. So next, we're going to go over to Audience. And then underneath Test Users, we're going to add a test user, which is going to be ourself. So just go ahead and type in your email right here, just the same exact email that you used in the last step. And then just click on Save. Cool, so now that was added right down here. So next, we're going to go back to the hamburger menu, and then we're going to go back to APIs and Services, and this time we're going to click on Credentials. And then we're going to say Create Credentials, and we're going to choose OAuth Client ID. And then underneath Application Type, we're going to choose Desktop App. And then we're just going to give it a name. I'm also going to call it OpenClaw. And then we'll just say Create. And then it will give you a client ID and a client secret. Feel free to copy these and put them safe on your computer somewhere. And now what we need to do is just download the JSON file. And after that downloads, we'll just go back over to Telegram. And we're just going to attach a file. And we'll say File. And then we'll just grab that JSON file and click Open. And then underneath the caption, we'll just say, here's the JSON file that you asked for. And then just send it. Cool, so now it got back with a link that we need to click on and approve access. And it's going to say that it probably won't load. All it wants us to do is copy the entire URL and paste it here. So we'll just click on it, and then we'll just sign into our account. And it'll say that Google hasn't verified this because we don't know the developer, but we are the developer in this case. So we're going to say continue. And then we'll just say continue again. And from here, we're just going to select all and then just click continue. And just like it said, the page didn't load, so we don't have to panic here. All we have to do is go up and copy this URL. And then we'll just go back over to Telegram, and then we'll just paste it in right here. And then it will get back and say that you approved this account and not dale@gmail.com, which I don't even own. It's just assuming that my email is just my name @gmail.com. So all it's asking is which email that we want to confirm. So I'm just going to type that in here. And this is the same email that we just used for all the Google Console stuff. Okay, so now it's saying we need to repeat that process again. So I'm just going to click on this URL, and then we'll just sign in. And we'll just say continue. And again, we're back to a site that can't be loaded. So we're just going to copy that URL and then go back over to Telegram and just paste that in. And now it's saying that we just need to choose a password. So I'm just going to type one in. Awesome. So now it's connected and it verified that it has access to our Google Apps. So now let's go ahead and test it. So I'm going to say, I have a meeting tomorrow, April 2nd at 2 p.m. with Jeffrey Bezos. The meeting subject is World Domination Brainstorm. Can you add it to my calendar? And right now it confirms the meeting details, but it says it has read-only Google access. And if you want, I can upgrade calendar access. But before I do that, I need two details. What time zone should I be in, and how long should the meeting be? So I said, yes, please upgrade calendar access. The meeting time zone is MST, and it'll be 1 hour long. So now it's asking us to repeat the process again. We're just going to click on this link, and then sign in. And then we'll click continue, and then select all, and then just click continue. And then we'll just copy this URL. And then just go back to Telegram and just paste that in. Perfect. So it said done and it added the meeting. And you won't have to click on these URLs anymore now that we have read and write access enabled. And if I go over to my calendar, you can see that meeting was added right here. World Domination Brainstorm. So let's do one more helpful skill. Let's say that we're shopping for something and we want to get notified when a certain product's price drops. Well, we can do that with OpenClaw. So let's just go back to Telegram. And I just wrote in, can you watch this product and notify me whenever the price drops? And I put in the link to the product. And I chose these pain relief patches because this is my product. So I can log in here, drop the price, and then see if it notifies us. So let's go ahead and send this. And it says, cool, I'll watch that for you and I'll set up everything I need to do that. But first, do you want me to notify you of any drop or only below a target price? I'll just say any drop. Cool, so now it just confirmed the price. And it says, what I haven't done yet is set up a recurring monitor. And this will essentially just watch the web page. So I'm just gonna say, yes, please. Perfect, so it got back and set up a new cron job in order to handle this task. And you're gonna see the term cron job, so let me explain it. Okay, so you have cron jobs and you have heartbeats. A cron job is just a task that's performed at specific times. It's like setting an alarm clock, and whenever that alarm clock goes off, something happens. So an example of a cron job that you could tell OpenClaw is check the weather in Denver every day at 9 a.m. and send me the report. And it will run this task every day at 9 a.m. And then you have heartbeats. And a heartbeat is just a constant signal to prove that something is still running. Think of it like a pulse. It says, hey, I'm still alive, over and over and over again. An example of a heartbeat would be that you've ordered an Uber and you're watching its location get closer and closer to you on the map. That heartbeat is what updates its location every couple seconds. Now, the reason that I mention these two is that cron jobs are more efficient and cost effective. So if OpenClaw suggests to make something a cron job, do it. Okay, let's get back. Okay, so now that we're back, I'm gonna go ahead and change the price for this product and see if it notifies me. So I'm just gonna go edit the product here, and I'm just gonna drop it by a couple dollars. And then we'll just go up and save those changes. Cool, so now you can see that the price dropped. So let's go ahead and open up Telegram and see if it came through. And just like that, price drop alert right here, and it even gives me a link to click on the product and buy it. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is how to restart or reboot OpenClaw in case anything ever goes wrong and you need to start over. So doing this is really simple. Just go back over to Hostinger, and from your dashboard, you'll see OpenClaw over here on the left-hand menu. And after you click on that, you can just go over here to Manage. From here, you can open up OpenClaw in a new window, you can restart it, or you can delete it and start completely fresh. Okay, pat yourself on the back because we've come a long way. That was the complete beginner's guide for how to set up OpenClaw. Instead of opening tools like ChatGPT when you need help, you've now built something that works for you, and it runs 24/7, round the clock. And this is only just the beginning, so I suggest you start now. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps my channel grow. And if you want to see more tutorials on OpenClaw, N8N, or website tutorials, please consider subscribing to the channel. All right, my name is Dale McManus from Create a Pro Website, and I will see you on the next video.